It's a pity that we find ourselves in the place they call Niger area, where the most foolish people are living, and they call themselves human beings. It's a pity that black race, the most stupid black race, is living inside Nigeria. The number one slave is living inside Nigeria. The people who love to be a slave than to have their freedom, they are Nigerians. You can see a human being defending evil in the name of Nigeria. I wonder where and how these people, how they are reason as a human being. If you go to Nigeria and see Nigeria, you weep for what is happening. Nigeria is the place, everywhere is church, everywhere is mosque. These people are all foolish. The people who are controlling them are the most wicked people living on earth. Today is church, yes. So many people have come back from church. Then what did you learn? Nothing. You have go and pay your tithe and offering and come back to be a slave. If the Christianity understand the meaning of Christianity, the work of Jesus on earth, when Jesus is on earth, they will understand that what they are doing in Nigeria is only praying for money, for their pocket. There's no difference between the bishop, the archbishop, the reverend, the pastor in Nigeria. There's no difference between them and the politicians. The same go to imams in the north. They are the same thing. They are the most wicked people existing on earth. They hold people hostage inside the mosque, deceiving them. They hold people hostage in the church, Christianity, deceiving them. You don't want people to hear the truth. The Bible says, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. Okwu Igbo ya asị, ị ga-amara eziokwu ahụ, eziokwu ga-eme ka isi n'oru pụọ. People are living in bondage, enslaved inside the church and the mosque in Nigeria. If you go to other countries of the whole world, they think their preaching is quite different from what Nigeria is preaching. If you ask any Nigerian people who come back from church today, how many times do you pay money to the church? How many times? It's uncountable. But what have you learned? Nothing. How can somebody who say he is a bishop are still introducing one Nigeria for human being to live inside? How? From where to where? Bishop. You are bishop. You think if you are bishop in Nigeria, you are bishop in heaven. You are bishop in Nigeria because you are a criminal with the Bible. You can do whatever you want to do here on earth. The day you die, you will pay your price. You go to judgment for all the evil you did in Nigeria. Because all of you, almost all of you, who are praying for one Nigeria are criminals. The Fulani have used you to deceive over 200 million people because you find yourself in a position of archbishop in Nigeria. You have no truth. You don't know about truth. You are deceiving people because of money. After collecting all the money from the church, you go back to Fulanis in Abuja and they sign a check for you. You collect. You are making investment all over the whole world. You are thinking that you are going to heaven. Foolish people. Shame to you. All of you evil. Before I forget, my brother, I want to thank Sochika, this Dr. Okachi, who are giving us the history of Biafra. If you are a human being, if you are a Nigeria, one Nigeria, listen to Okachi Lewis, the history of Nigeria. If you are Igbo man, you are talking of Nigeria today. Remember, some people have come here and they have left. It is going to be the same thing to you. A time will come when you will left. You hand over slave and a disaster to unborn generation. If you cannot learn from the past history of Nigeria from 1945 to date, you can never learn anymore before you die. Take time. If you see P2B, just send this copy of history of Biafra to P2B. Send it as many people as possible for them to listen and they to continue talking about Nigeria.
Thank you.
Nigeria, British, Fulanis in Nigeria. If you are a human being, you can never talk anything about Nigeria. Nigeria is a poison to humanity.
Thank you.
Nigeria have no plan to move forward. Nigeria have no plan for humanity. Nigeria is interested of cow than human being. That is Fulani pattern of life. So many things I have to say, but let me stop so far today.
Thank you.
But I want P2B, you have not known the history of Igbo race in Nigeria. You are not more than Agui Ironsi that was killed in Ibadan with Ifajui. You are nothing. Agui Ironsi is the highest army in Nigeria. Agui Ironsi is the man that stopped Congo war. The British used him to stop war in Congo. He have all the medals all over his body. But Fulani killed him in Nigeria. Who is P2B? A rat, a foolish man that has no history, but is claiming that he's educated. Foolish educated we have in Igbo land. Foolish plus foolish idiots in general. Thank you very much, my brother.
Thank you, Nwachineke.
We bless our leader.
You say?
I use this opportunity to greet our leader's wife for the topic of yesterday. It's wonderful.
Absolutely.
I hail her. I hail our leader. The people that God have sent to break the chain that British used to cage Africa by creating a dangerous place, call it Nigeria, and send them with the evil chain. They have eyes, they cannot see. They have mouth, they cannot talk. Foolish people. Thank you very much. All hail Biafra.
All hail Biafra. Dalu Nwachineke. Thank you very much. I think this is where we'll call it a day. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for being part of this program this evening. I will be here tomorrow, same time, 5 p.m. Biafra time, 5 p.m. Biafra time. And we will continue on this topic because a lot of people have lost their loved ones. We are from a place where life has no value. There is no meaning to life. That is the way the owners, the creators of the zoo made it to be. Life, there is no meaning in Nigeria when it comes to life. And this is what we are fighting for. We are fighting so that everybody will have a purpose, so that everyone will get to actualize the reason why God created you, the reason why you are alive, so that you can fulfill your purpose. As it stands now, the government in the zoo is hell-bent on eliminating the people, eliminating Biafrans. It is a genocide. I'll say it once more. What is happening in Nigeria is a genocide. It is a genocide. It is a genocide. And that must stop. And the people responsible must be held to account. And therefore, I call on all responsible people in Nigeria to stand up and say enough is enough. If you are a preacher, of course, we know that a lot of preachers in Nigeria are converted from Islam. But that does not mean that Islam itself does not respect a life. Of course, we know that so many people use it to commit, to hide under, so many people hide under it to commit various crimes. But being human means that life has value. You must understand that there is a priceless tag on life. And the government of Nigeria is doing everything possible to commit genocide. They are actually committing genocide, and it must be stopped. It must be stopped. These people that are languishing in different DSS dungeons, they must be released, and they should be released. My name once more is Mazi Sochi Machiagoze Mbanale. And I wish to once more thank our leader, Onyendu Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. I wish to thank the DOS and every person working assiduously to ensure the restoration of Biafra. I wish to thank you. And every other person who is working to ensure that the human rights abuse going on in the zoo is stopped. I wish to thank you. I am very happy to have read the report from Amnesty International. Remember, a few days ago, I called out Amnesty International when I spoke about the need for them to declare our leader, Onyendu Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, a prisoner of conscience. Of course, that is what he is. He is a prisoner of conscience. He was abducted from Kenya by Nigeria government. And the UN has already asked Nigeria to release him. And that should be done as soon as possible. That should be done as soon as possible. It is clear to everyone that Nigeria is committing genocide. And that must also stop. Thank you very much for being part of this program this evening. And please have a wonderful morning, wonderful afternoon, and wonderful evening. From me, from here, I say good night.
During all over the world, they are the young people whom, frankly, we have failed. who are angry, who are organized, who are capable of making a difference. They are a moral army. And the most important thing that we can do for them is to get the hell out of their way. There's a new force of nature at hand, stirring all over the world. They are the young people. There's a new force of nature at hand, stirring all over the world. They are the young people whom, frankly, we have failed, who are angry, who are organized, who are capable of making a difference. They are a moral army. And the most important thing that we can do for them is to get the hell out of their way.
History of a people, I repeat, is like the stream of life from which the character form and structure of the identity, their backwardness and progress are drawn. It affords a people the platform on which to predict their future. Though, just as every stream has is like the stream of life from which the character form and structure of the identity, their backwardness and progress are drawn. It affords a people the platform on which to predict their future. Though, just as every stream has a
My people, listen. I am that I am. I will bless whoever blessed you, and I will curse whoever cursed you. War against the kingdom of darkness that stands against God's people of Biafra. The more you try to stop us on this united movement, the more we unite with more great people, and more real brave people keep multiplying up. Revolutionary blast the Babylonians, for the Biafrans came from Israelite. Tell us how Addis Ababa came from. Destroy the invention. Make sure you destroy every being that stand as destruction obstruction. Damn the demon incarnate hiding under the umbrella of American and British world power. The blasphemous. Babylonian surprise how we survived the strike of 1967. Bomb bullet the project. It's hardcore Biafran striving for heaven with psychological object. You can't stop the revolutionary strive to meet your life from generation to generation just to fly. But we bring you down with the Biafran necktie. Testify, bonify, 45 Biafra rose with the tools to blow. We've been on perspective point consuming so many history books as the years took for us to trace the truth to the roots. They used to roost the home of the brave, cause we were blinded with white men lies they imposed on our region. We were civilized with the Jewish religion before the white men disease came to Black Gold Kingdom. With their demons they chain our freedom. We took fortitude for all the pains we passed through the era of slavery to date bondage. General Dumegu Dike Ojukwu, greatest in charge of all time, retired but never get tired of the struggle he took. Prophet Nnamdi is anointed with the struggle, more nothing to lose. Let the era of IPOB be burned till they're all gone to see them no more. Back in the days when I was blind like you, struggling for better days hope. Used to hide from cops to smoke in the cemetery with my infantry friend dying in conspiracy insurgency. Now time is necessary to pray with my brethren in the territory, for the nation of Biafra must be restored. For our enemies don't deserve the love, for so many scores execute war. The only language Ishmael lineage understood is shedding of blood. Soon the angels saw a way to descend on Babylonia, and the arena of bastard saboteurs trying to be heroes, but they're going down zeros. IPOB came with unused skills, broke the code on the globe like virus on control. You don't even know who spoke and poke at your indigenous people already say no to ethanol and tobacco. White men blood, our soul have reconciled with our God for the Biafran exodus. For IPOB don't go for illegal money when their brothers' eye closed, like those hanging out late night like ghosts with useless hope, waiting for brown envelope to kiss your brother's souls. Like when the Biafran fighting Cold War, white Britain shipping Biafran black gold. Ohanese indeed, but mine is dynamic. You will never know who love you the most, and that's why many made wrong choice when presenting them roles. We are untouchable, unstoppable, unseparable folks. We must cross to our promised land of blessing and riches. You can die, rest in pieces, you snitches. Saved by the indigenous witches, for we got a key. Time has come that the land soil will reject you all and your dead bodies. We believe on nobody but tetragrammaton. Tetragrammaton. For this is the end of Islamic Zoological Republic of Nigeria. It's become the throne of demons since the amalgamation. All the families have soldier up on the Papa Green land, on Black Boot and Touche. Don't use skill soldier up ever ready to go. For they've wake up dead people from sleep of no return till we get it done. Like a revenge of America of September 11, when God of Israel had a departed soul petition from heaven. So shall he digest it through the hardcore Biafra squad.
The way they treat us like a stranger in a fatherland. You know good calling on the global world. The way they treat us like a stranger in a fatherland. You know good calling on the global world. Make way for Biafra.
We suffer multicultural slavery, full ownership to the new world. Britain came in, the game changed, more horrible. Introducing Biafra to ethanol, alcohol, damaged by the system, and tobacco, nicotine causing cancer. Biafra nation was established by Lord Afra, 8500 BC. And Britain came in, destroy our ecosystem king. Lord Lugard for kill our fathers to amalgamate us with Nigeria contraction to be Muslim since 1914. 1929, killing of about women riot. For so long they have been killing Biafrans till date. Britain brought MSTs to deceive. All they done for us don't to trace our origin back. They don't give a fuck about our hurt, rather value Biafran world. Don't bomb babies were beheaded, lynched in the street, set ablaze in their homes. Children taken from school and executed with impunity. And guests were taken from their schools to leprosy. And other people with other diseases keep raping them. Beheaded pregnant women were chipped to death, and their unborn babies taken out of their stomach and killed as well. Men and children of all ages were thrown into the well of less bread, steady screaming, crying for help, but the rest of the world act deaf. The British and Nigerian government fill up dead to 40 food with heavy stones. Some were forced to eat feces and drink urine with no hope. They bombed civilians in the hospitals, markets, churches, and at their homes. Biafra homeland became a rain of skulls and bones. The ever worst war crime in the whole world after the Jewish Holocaust. Still, the blood wasn't enough for the police warmongers. British sent troops with warplane mortars, grenades, executing innocent blood of Ayakarom in brutal council. Currently 4 weeks Buhari integrated. He used helicopter and napalm bomb Akwa Ibom coast using AK-47 war guns, shooting Calabar people in the night. All Nigerian armed forces execute IPOB in Aba, in Oigwacha, in Onitsha, main bridge in Ukbo. Abakaliki, Idoma land never be exceptional. They rouse and execute many communities in Enugu. 30th May Memorial Day of Fallen Heroes, turn bloody. They broke into the churches with no respect to God. Start arresting, executing people, raping Biafra women. Using Boko Haram trained by Saudi Arabia among their 84 terrorist group. And America did nothing at all. So many unforgiven sin till thy kingdom come. We will never forget this till thy kingdom come. For the properties the states giving us 20 pounds. After warfare, for the welfare of our world, they ripped in pieces. Sending us to open new market in the forest with 20 pounds. Now you call it Alaba International Market. An updated Britain who were past and present against Biafra succeeded. Now fought and gotten India succeed from European Union. American state who support freedom of speech only on the lips to black people. Biafran came looking for freedom. We realized American Britain kingdom are ruled by incarnates of demons. No surprise American give the logic to those behind the scopic who make the mechanic plot execution of skulls of 1967 unique people. I know many won't understand it, like magic from aquatic. Take and listen to one of my speech brethren, or make it so very stop corporate news lying to you and your children. Do you ever thought how Islam came into existence? Do you ever thought how Islam came into the place you were living? Do your memory ever connect to how your grandfather's religion was raised? Execute many black skulls before imposing Islam into African region. Out of fear, many souls were submissive to Islam religion. So many souls Muslim rule. Got people real fool about the inferior system Islam religion. It's ever lied told before that Islam is a peaceful religion. This is a paradox they use to cripple Turkey and to see Africa as a land of monkey to mockery. My papa told me Biafran story, so shall I tell my unborn kids about the worry. Watching Biafra documentary issue, reminiscing tears as the years too ever gone. It's over if you don't believe worship a tetragrammaton. You don't deserve to sleep with Biafra Kakadonis. For the Biafran till we're gone. Look how you treating my people is too bad. Why you really acting like you too late? Look how you treating my people is too bad. Why you really acting like you too late? Look how you treating my people is too bad. Why you really acting like you too late? Look how you treating my people is too bad. Why you really acting like you too late?
The way they treat us like a stranger in a fatherland. Hey, no good day. Calling on the global world. The way they treat us like a stranger in a fatherland. Hey, no good day. Calling on the global world. Make way for Biafra.
I know I can't speak like you all, but you all understand me well. For the black people hemisphere, you talk in the red, and you sleep comfortable on bed. Soon the reward of death will visit you all from hell. For the petition of people you sent to the grave, half answered by God of the braves. Caught you all of a worry bird memory of imperialism, slaverism, colonialism, religion, terrorism. Ever since the end of Biafran defense war, agreement was made, no victor, no vanquish. Promises was made for Nigerians to build infrastructure and rehabilitation for Biafrans. But when Biafran came for pledge redemption, Nigerian government gone. This picture is never wrong. They don't want us to live on. They thought all the hard cores are dead gone, but they get it wrong. Nnamdi Kanu overthrown the white and black man dragon with 50 million resurrected hardcore Biafrans with machine guns. Testify ready to die even they keep the bullet fly. For we are born, raised in the bomb area, condemned by the Catholic Church. We understood the mystery behind such, but to rather unite IPOB meant much for our souls, sold not for gold. For so long, constantly searching for knowledge from a distance. Instantly, wisdom was there before civilization came into existence. You can reason up the circumstance. Why Biafran from ages always stand famed for resistance through our system of transistence persistence. Even though most of us locked up in the cage like Roman Empire details before technology came to mankind knowledge. The Roman Empire under Illuminati one goal, stole God religion and painted it illusional, made people wallowing in the bloody satanic ocean of fire. So much unwaste damages to date. Nobody give a fuck about protecting my race. So I hold on with AK on the revolution face to bring down the disgrace. For we're going to school to be nobody's slave. They want us to keep living in dark life. Look around, poor healthcare, no welfare, always warfare against us and hemisphere. What unfair, people get disappear, and the mouthpiece of the sea are living in fear. The rest acting deaf ear on our bloody tears. Our politicians press us each time they execute our blood with euphemism speech. They have sunk our organic hemisphere with the human blood and destroy our aquatic species with chemicals entitled with aftermath of getting cancer. And our chieftains and elders are blind, telling us to listen to the saga. Conspiracy going on and laid by the inventories. They infiltrate for us to go for war instantly, with none of the children serving in infantry. Religious war is the reason primarily. African territory has become cemetery for terrorism. We are Muslims executing innocent Christians and Jewish mercilessly. And American power did nothing to Saudi Arabia of sponsoring and supporting 84 terrorist group in the era of 21st century. Only sanction in Russia for Western power to get easy access to all and beyond former USSR geographical territory under their control watch. But we bring the truth out to our people who are still blind of the search, like during the expository essay of the Holocaust of the Jewish. And if you stand in my way of getting freedom through, my tools will blast you so hard it will get next bastard, pedophile next to you trying to screw. And I salute on my loyal black boot to my Biafran revolution crew, standing with my symbolic flag. We Biafran build America. Now people who doesn't know how the basic foundation of United States of America, they migrated from different parts of universal base, enjoying our labor and our sweat, faces, and origin people who build Americans still suffering today. Only option left for us is death. But I promise my Biafran pillars to deliver no shiver till they stop calling us niggas. Look how you treating my people is too bad. Why you really acting like you too late? Look how you treating my people is too bad. Why you really acting like you too late? Look how you treating my people is too bad. Why you really acting like you too late? Look how you treating my people is too bad. Why you really acting like you too late?
The way they treat us like a stranger in a fatherland. Hey, no good day. Calling on the global world. The way they treat us like a stranger in a fatherland. Hey, no good day. Calling on the global world. Make way for Biafra now.
Biafra's struggle can never be unrewarded struggle. Remember, after rain, there comes sunshine. I remember for every dark night, there is a bright day after that. So it's afternoon now, but I say good morning to my Biafrans. The sun has risen and shining where there is no light, and that's the symbolic meaning of the sun appearance in the Biafran flag. Do remember, danger is real, but fear is the choice. But don't be victim of kingdom that will never last your freedom. We receive Western education just to know the basics. No mortal can change the past, and no mortal can make the future. You are just an instrument to be used by the Universal King. Remember, just like you have the power to manufacture and control minimum and maximum seconds under your wristwatch. There is someone above your origin, creates and has dominion over you, and your strange functional and sectional object you made. So life never comes by chance, it goes to you, a taste. So remain resolute, because when comes confusion, reality becomes illusion. Letter to my Biafrans. The best African revolution ever strategized is the Biafra, one of the world top first-class revolution ever exemplified in the history of mankind, ever known to extend the man. Politics and corruption on the hip-hop industry silent my speech, but Biafra brought back my voice to strike and project on the psychological object. So why trying to blame us? So many lies was told to our brothers and sisters that were sold out to slavery. But I'm here to delegate the truth at the time. We did not land on the white man Plymouth land, but the white man landed on black people Plymouth land. So what I'm saying is, we on our own when the white man disease came into our existence, ruined so many souls of the black people. But Biafrans are here one more time to restore the real nomenclature of the real mechanism or framework of the true worship of Yahweh, Chukwokika Abiyama. On this revolution project with no mind to accept evolution anymore. This is not voluntary, but it's mandatory only if you realize who you are and what you are as human being. I think no need to tell the rest of the world that we are blessed with the best. So I have sacrificed my life, Biafra or dead. Biafra! What? Fuck all yo! It's time to go home, brothers and sisters. Biafra, Kakadoni, signing out.
Circumstances. You have been found guilty on all charges. Is there something you could tell the court before pronouncement of your sentence?
All we want is freedom. That's all we want. Freedom. Freedom for children to learn. Freedom for men to work, for mothers to love, for a nation to grow. That's all we want. Equality. For everyone. You see, I am just one of many. A foot soldier. There will be many, many more to follow. So, there is no court of law, no police force, no army that will stop the tide of revolution from turning. There is no punishment that you can lay out in this court. No law your government can pass that will kill the will of the people. Because we will fight. We will continue to fight until all our people are free. And maybe we can even free you from yourselves. So you can hate us, degrade us, torture us, and kill us. But we will fight. And we will be free. One day, we will be free. Amanda! Mando! Solomon Kalushi Mashlango. You are hereby sentenced to death. You will be taken to Pretoria Central Prison on a date to be set, and you will be hanged by your neck until you die.
You are listening to Radio Biafra HAUSA-SERVICE coming to you through Radio Biafra London. Once again, today is the third day, the third day of September 2022. Today is Saturday. Therefore, without wasting time or taking any time, I will bring in our special guest today, Wada Uchechi Okukano. Please, Madam, welcome to the program. Your brief introduction for formality's sake, please. Go on, please, Madam.
Thank you, Mazi Jonathan. Thank you very much. I say good evening, good morning, good afternoon, and good night to every one of us, depending on where you are. My name is Wada Uchechi Okukano, the wife of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, Ohamadike ward of Biafra land. Ndewo.
Ndewo Wada Wanyoma. You are welcome to the program. You know, here we say it as it is, as you know, because we don't try to be politically correct. It doesn't matter. Now, let us go to the business of the day, because you need to talk to Biafrans and take some questions from me. The first question I want to ask you is this: how are you faring with your children? In this case, do you sometimes feel dejected or frustrated owing to the fact that our leader, who is your husband, passed through this same ordeal for 18 months in 2015 and is now passing through the same situation? How are you feeling, please?
Thank you. We are coping. We've had to cope. I mean, we have to, as there is absolutely nothing we can do but to survive. It is very difficult. It is absolutely difficult. Where I have stepped in as both mother and father, especially with a young child, a young boy child, who is involved in activities that requires the participation of his father. You know, for instance, you have a child you need to take to football, swimming, even school drop-offs and pick-ups. But his dad is not available to do all that bonding activities, and he does not understand why sometimes. And sometimes he's upset that I'm the one picking him up from school, you know, hoping that he will be. So it is very difficult to answer your question. And actually, he met his father for the first time when he was 3 years old. So you can imagine the difficulty he has had to live with the fluctuations associated with his father's presence. Dejected, frustrated, absolutely yes. I do feel frustrated because I never envisaged that this part would be this difficult and unsettling. The first time my husband was kidnapped, in fact, in 2015, it was a great shock, as I was heavily pregnant as at that time.
Before you enter, because that's where I was going to ask you. Let me just put it before you go on, please. Were you at Afari Beku in 2017 when the Nigerian military invaded your home in order to murder Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, our leader? And, you know, as you're saying, it's understandable. You're a human being. We are all humans. What was your feeling concerning the whole evil episode as of that time? You can continue, please.
Okay, as at that time, 2017, that is the most difficult thing I have ever had to face for months. Why was it difficult? Because I did not know where my husband was. I was on the phone to him. I was meant to travel that week, but I think I had to get something for him, so my traveling, I had to reschedule and then book it for the next week. So we were on the phone and talking, and I started to hear this sporadic shootings. So my heart skipped and I screamed, what was that? He said, he's coming, he's coming, I should hold him. So I started to scream on the phone. I was screaming because he wasn't giving me any response. So I was screaming and asking, what is going on? What is going on? This very statement I'm making should be found on BBC interview or not, which is the reason I cannot interview with BBC. Except if they accept the full responsibility to air a complete interview with them.
They censor, we know, they censor things. That's it.
So they censored quite a lot of my interviews, which I did with them on the 11th of February 2018. In fact, they asked me a question, why haven't we heard, why haven't we been able to see you or reach you or get your response from your tweet and message. So I did explain to them that it was so traumatizing. I was haunted and tormented and traumatized for months because of that event. I miscarried because of that very day.
You had a miscarriage, really, because of that event?
Yes, because of that very event. So because of that, I wasn't out there and moving because I was quite ill, and the trauma was unbearable. This was a man who was getting ready in preparation for his court appearance in no due time, as we all know. But then was attacked by the same government a few days before. So after my BBC interview, I carried on with investigation and questioning, as always, in the background. So this is one of the challenges, as I'm feeling frustrated, and it is the uncertainty that comes with it as well. It can get one very frustrated. So to answer your question, I was on the phone when that attack took place. I was on the phone to him when it took place. So if I can continue with explaining how difficult it is and how frustrating it could be, that I do feel frustrated quite a lot of times. So I do ask myself sometimes, when I'm in so much agony, I would ask myself, what about the children who have lost their fathers and uncles and in the course of this struggle? This was some time ago. That was before I started to fall into or every question started to fall into the line of right answer. No sooner had I asked myself this question than I realized these situations and these feelings come with the territory. And I do tell myself that we're all paying the price for freedom, and that is sacrificial. We're all paying at the altar of pain, agony, loss, great loss of our loved ones, friends, and families. We go through each day, immersing ourselves in the fond memories of them. That is also a different torture on its own. It's a different torture on its own. It could make me feel better sometimes. It could add more torment to my feelings sometimes. So to answer your question, yes, I do feel frustrated.
Going further, concerning or using what you said, now I want to ask you this direct question. What is it like to be the wife of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu? owing to the tediousness of this journey, his engagements, and the dedications to the struggle for the restoration of Biafra. What is it like? Just your experience. What is it like to be the wife of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu?
Okay, thank you. To be the wife of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, or Hamadike one of Biafra, I would like to say that there has been two stages of what it is like to be the wife of Nnamdi Kanu. Period of this struggle and the present stage. So this very stage, 16th of September, this very September, 16th of September 2022 will be exactly 21 years of knowing Nnamdi Kanu. And minus 8 years from that 21 years, that is how long we've been married. To be wife of Nnamdi Kanu, on our very traditional marriage day, he was kidnapped. he was taken from me. So just like what you see in the movies, having problems during the day of an event.
He was kidnapped.
And yes, he was
the start of baptism by fire. Go on, please.
He was taken, and who was that? Who did that? That was Owazurike, Ralph Owazurike. So I wouldn't delve into that today. Life after that is just the usual life of couples, which I will detail at some point in the future, so not today. But for today, I will say that it is very hard and difficult, because you would, based on the natural order of couple relationship, want to be with your husband, plan and execute these plans together, birth and raise children together, and all the rest of the case, as the case may be. At first, I would be very upset when he does not pick my call. Women, you just, sometimes when you need attention and you want to have a conversation and that time is not there. So I would be upset, and I would, when he does not pick my call or return my call. So over time, I learned to let it go. I proactively started to think, maybe he's in a meeting, because I've had to sit while he's in meetings. He will be in meetings, from this meeting to another meeting. Whilst he's there talking, I'll have to bring water, knowing that he's been sat there for hours. So having seen all that, I started to fall into line, proactively. So when he does not pick if he's away and does not pick my call, I think, okay, it's one of those meetings and is one of those interviews. So gradually it became his action plan to call me as soon as he's free. We have gone 10 days without him calling me, and I knew he was okay. We've gone 10 days without him calling me, and I knew he's fine where he is. He will call when he's done. He could be airborne, So it is tedious. It is absolutely tedious. You have to be strong. You have to be understanding to know that absolutely this is what it takes. Because if I have it in my head that it is tedious and is terrible, then you start to go into a place of depression or whatever. So in order not to let that happen, this is the picture that we built together. So this is what it is, and this is how I have had to deal with it. So it is very tedious. It can be very daunting sometimes, because I get to do quite a lot of things. I tend to fill in his place, and some meetings like parents' meetings, and have to do all of that. So yes, it's quite tedious.
Okay, let's move on. Do you receive encouragement or discouragements from family members concerning your position as the wife of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu? Do you receive encouragements and or discouragements from family members?
Yes, I do. I mean, in life, it's always a two-way path. Even when one is in school, in your course of study, in your career, you do get encouragements and discouragements. It could be directly or indirectly, but it's a natural thing. It's not something that it is to be thought to be a bad thing. So it's a natural thing, and it happens in every course of one's life. So in everything we do, we may not get encouraged all the time, nor discouraged, but not in a bad way all the time. It is something that happens in the course of life. Everything we do, it may be indirectly or directly sometimes, but just as every other person, one can be discouraged or encouraged by the actions of those around them. So, for example, I have it's my husband's cousin, the wife. She said, "Oh, you're studying a professional course. Why are you studying a professional course? You're going to look for jobs and you do this, and So, to me, I could have thought that would discourage me. I could have thought, am I in the right path? Am I on the right track? Am I studying the right course? Am I, But that is how some discouragement can come as. So it's nothing at all to be discouraged. I mean, discouragement is sometimes is a lesson. You can get discouragement, but then you look at that very path and say, why is this way? Has something been done right or wrong? And then you look around again to see. So for example, in the workplace, it's called critical path analysis. So this sort of joins with being the wife of Nnamdi Kanu and how it feels, the journey. Because I have to be in line with not just the structure of who I am, of my particular kind of person, but also fill in the gaps found in the critical path. I will try to be not very ambiguous, but as concise and precise as much as possible to avoid anyone being bound by the complexity of ambiguity. So if, for example, I say I want to make, I think it's a maize meal. We call it HAUSA-SERVICE. So there are processes to do that. And I want to present it in a particular way. So I want someone to see it and say, this is good. So in my head, I will try as much as I can to make sure that I carry out all the steps appropriately. So this is connected with discouragement, encouragement, and being the wife of Nnamdi Kanu. I'm bringing everything together. So this process is called the critical path analysis. I would get the plantain wrap, the plantain leaf to wrap this maize meal. And before I do that, I'll think, for someone to see this and eat it and like it, have I got the right amount of salt? Have I got the right amount of pepper? Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes, I do.
So I would go back and run another test, which is stir the maize meal and taste for salt and taste for pepper to see. Now, do not forget that the taste buds, our taste buds are palates, they taste things differently. So I could taste and think to myself, oh, I'm okay with the salt and I'm okay with the pepper. But someone else might not be okay with the pepper and the salt. So that is my critical path analysis. That is me trying to make sure that that very food turns out okay. So someone else who eats it and does not like it may say, oh, there is no salt or there is no pepper. Or someone with another kind of taste bud would say, there is too much salt and there is too much pepper. But one thing I learned that from my father-in-law. God bless his dear, beloved, departed soul. My husband took after him in terms of being diplomatic, and my little one as well. He's the same way. So my father-in-law will eat that food, and he will not tell you that it is salty or it is not salty. If it is salty, he will say, really? On the back, there could have been, there's something that tastes like too much salt in the back. How did you put the salt? So that is how he would ask you those questions. So to me, if he asked me that, I wouldn't feel discouraged to cook next time. I would want to cook and make it better. Do you understand? So to answer your question in terms of discouragement and encouragement, it is a natural thing. Sometimes you see things that would discourage you. Sometimes you see things that will encourage you. So it's both, it's life is all balanced.
Okay. Let me ask you this question, please. Some time ago, you briefly appeared in a so-called Zoom prayer session by some infiltrators and renegades of IPOB. Can you tell us more about how and why you were present in that Zoom meeting, please?
Okay. Meeting, a prayer. It was a prayer meeting.
Yes.
Okay, so to explain that, I happen to be in communication with the women leader in the United States, Mrs. Bridget Okorafor. She's a great woman. She has a good heart, and she yearns for the release of my husband, our leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. She would send me a text and say, on Saturdays, every Saturday for months, she would send me a text and say, the Biafran women are in prayer. And I would say, oh, I will raise my hands in prayers. And sometimes I would say, put me in your prayers. Because after the funeral of my mom, I had fallen so much ill that I haven't been quite myself. So at some point, I said to her that, she said to me, it's actually okay for you to join in this prayer. And I said, yes, absolutely, you're right. I should join in this prayer because it will be a great thing for me to encourage the people who take the time out of the little time they have to pray for the release of our leader, for his safety and his well-being. So if not for anything else, I should at least encourage them and say, Jisimike, keep up the good work. So back to your question again, these are the sort of things you would do, someone could perceive as discouragement. So if I don't do that, a few might be discouraged to say, where is the wife? She doesn't join us. To me, it may not be discouragement because if I hadn't been told, I would not be aware of what they're doing. But because she tells me, because she tells me all the time that we are praying, we've gone into prayer now, I felt it was my obligation to encourage them. And how would I encourage them? Directly by praying with them. Because I believe that there is power in prayer with people joining hands together in agreement. It is powerful. So I said to her one of these days that I would join, and then next time again I said, today is rough for me and not able to do that, maybe just finishing from the little ones football, and even in illness, because I have to do all of this being ill as well. So I said to her, I can't remember the month right now, but I know it was on the 5th. So I said to her the 5th of that month that I will join, and she was elated. She was like, okay, that's great. She was happy about that, which also I was very happy to pray with my sisters and mothers. So on that day, in fact, the night before that day, I became more ill. The ailment I have, I take medication, and I probably was taking the wrong medication, and it wasn't helping me, it was making it worse. So in the morning, I was just thinking to myself, how would I do today? Because I was shivering. When I walk, my feet will be hurting. And in fact, I was in bed. I was crying when my brother-in-law called me. That is Kinsley. Kinsley called me, and he said, okay, what is the problem? I said, this thing is not feeling, I'm not feeling any better with this thing. And he said, what are you taking? And we talked, and he was really worried. So he called one of our uncles, their uncles, and brought him on the phone, and we spoke, and he asked me a few questions, and we talked about a particular thing that I needed to take, and I quickly ordered immediate delivery for that, in fact, to collect in the store. So I had to go collect that. I took it, and I felt better a little bit, but I was still feeling very dizzy. I can't walk without holding on to things. And then I thought to myself, can I actually... And I encouraged them with the word of God and affirmed the power in prayer, and we prayed. And that was the first time I actually put together the death of my mother and the incarceration of my husband and my illness at the same time. I've always had to think one at a time. But in that moment, that was the first time I saw the 3 mountain high mountains in front of me. And I could barely actually even talk. I wanted to sing a lot of songs. I was filled with so much emotions and the pain as well that I was going through physically right there. Not just emotional pain. I was physically very, very ill. So I joined them in prayers, and I realized that being amongst them, by being amongst them, I felt, or in the midst of them, I felt better. Not of the physical pain, but the emotional burden kind of eased a little bit because I was amongst people. So also being the wife of Nnamdi Kanu, you have to, be careful regarding your parts and where you are and things. So, but I felt great because we were in the presence of God. We were seeking His face. So I made a very few speech, and I said I would be there. I would always join them once in a while, if it's once a month or once in 2 months. I would, because we were in the presence of God. We were seeking His face. So I made a very few speech, and I said I would be there. I would always join them once in a while, if it's once a month or once in 2 months. I would join, and then that I like the fact that they come together to pray. That shows commitment, and the fact that they understand that Nnamdi Kanu is suffering where he is, and he needs the intervention of God. Is also great, and for us all to pour out our hearts, asking God that for Nnamdi Kanu to be where he is today, that alone is righteousness onto his path. Nnamdi Kanu, for being where he is a righteous man. And because of that, God will hear our prayers. And after saying that, I went on mute, and in fact, I went on mute instead of going away, and had to tend to the little one. So at some point, I could still hear the voice and noise. I thought, oh my God, this thing is still on. So I logged off and I went off. So that was what happened. Nothing happened. I mean, no problems or anything whatsoever. And then I think the next day, I got a text from my sister's husband, my little sister's husband. He said, "Madam, can I call you? He always asks me first if it's okay to speak to me, because knowing that I was very, very ill." So I said, "Yes, okay, you can call me." And he rang me and he said, I've just been fighting and explaining to some people about something." I said, "What happened?" He said, "You were on a platform that you shouldn't be." I thought, oh my God, what platform is that? And he said, "The platform you were on yesterday to pray." I thought, I don't think I went there to do anything wrong. And what is wrong with the platform? So that was my question, and I will keep the rest to myself. So that was what happened, to answer your question.
Okay, we move on. What do you wholesomely, what do you say about the extraordinary rendition of our leader Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, notwithstanding he is holding a British passport? He was renditioned to a country, a third country, that Nigeria is not holding Nigeria passports. So it is really bizarre in the world stage. What do you say about it? This episode, this bizarre episode. What do you say about it?
It is indeed bizarre. It is mind-boggling as to how countries who are signatory to the same UN Charter that stands against human rights, these two countries, they are signatory to that very charter, the Human Rights Charter of the United Nations. But because this is currently being put through the legal process, there isn't anything that I think that is not out there, and everybody knows that Nigeria is making a fool of herself, and UK is also making a mess of herself, because these two, they are signatories to the UN Charter that stands against human rights violation. And keeping someone in solitary violation, in solitary confinement from such time to this very moment is a clear sign that these two are probably unaware of their involvement. But like I said, because this is currently being put through the legal process, there is not much I should say now. But underground works are being done and the right feathers are being ruffled. Like the UN working group having declared the importance of the case being resolved. Immediate release of Nnamdi Kanu, because this is a clear violation of his human rights as declared by the UN Charter, to which Britain, like I mentioned earlier, as well as Nigeria, are signatories. So I think this brings me to the encouragement part of this question as well, which I addressed earlier. I don't know how much advantage we are taking of this working group declaration by UN, as attained by Bruce Wayne, who was engaged by the women leader, IPOB Women Leader USA, led by, that's Mrs. Bridget Okafor, and a few good-hearted Biafrans. Excuse me. This needs to be made known far and wide via social media handle in order to gain traction, in order to gain the right and the proper traction. But prior to the UN working group, I'm speaking about this because this is already in the open. I actually met with Bruce Wayne and we discussed, he was here in the UK. We discussed some details, steps to be taken, and he got the nod of approval. And here is the result. All the strategies are in pipeline and will be made known in the future when they're already out. Having said this, I have been also interviewed by the Times UK, which was published, I think, 11th of July, 2021. In fact, I was interviewed alongside Kingsley, and that's Kingsley Kanu, my brother-in-law, and I'm sure this is also in the public domain. I think so the encouragement I spoke of should come from the spreading of any move we make in the public, of any information we have that needs to go far and wide. So I believe that very interview we both had on the 11th of July 2021 is also in the public domain and was shared far and wide. The UK government, the United Kingdom government, they will at some point have to face the fact that it is their responsibility to see to their citizen, which is Nnamdi Kanu, just as they intervened and prevented the extraordinary rendition of late Alhaji Umaru Dikko in 1984. He was not even a British citizen. I'm not sure why he was saved, or why that very situation was stopped from happening. So if he was not a British citizen and his extraordinary rendition was stopped, then the British government will at some point have to face the fact. They have to face their responsibility towards their citizen, and that is Nnamdi Kanu. There is nothing they can do about it. They will have to. Thank you.
Have you ever visited our leader this time around in the DSS custody? If yes, how do you see his physical and mental fitness? I'm talking about this time around.
This time around, yes. Yes, I have seen him. I've been to see him. Yes, I have been to see him. And in fact, Nnamdi Kanu is mentally and physically fit. More mentally fit than those roaming free, but who are not free indeed. And I'm sure people would know that, or people already know, our people already know that he is, why do we call him Ohamadike? He is the strength of all. He is our strength. So he is mentally the most strongest that I've ever known. We discussed, we spoke for quite a while. We talked about his health, which is not something that people are not aware of is not he's healthy, but he needs a physician who would deal with his heart issues. Everybody knows that he has heart issues, and that is very, very, very imminent. It must happen. Because you can't keep someone in solitary confinement and not provide that person with the medical care that he requires. They're just continually making a fool of their country and who they are. So we discussed the children, but most importantly, we discussed the struggle and other things which I could not think about. I couldn't even remember. But he remembered them all. He was asking me these and that, and I was like, wow. I was trying to remember some that I've even forgotten about. So we had our discussions, and he is as sound and clear as the crystal ball. That's who he is. So when he kept asking me these questions, I thought, oh my God. I started to praise and hail him, and I said, Ohamadike, Ohamadike, the man that speaks for the helpless, the man that saw the light and said, no, I want my people to experience this light. I praised and hailed him, and I threw accolades, and he was smiling. And I said, Odowu, Kamanozozo. And he stood, there he is, in his usual glory. He stood tall, like the demigod that he is amongst men. He stood. And he was laughing. He said, Ibiakwala, I continue to praise and hail him. I continue to sing praises of him. And he said, okay, you know you are my kiss of death. I don't know. I'm sure some people play chess. I'm not a very good player myself. But my husband is a good, he's very good at chess. And the little one plays chess as well. So when I came back, because I didn't have internet whilst I was there, I had to ask the little one, whoa, can you tell me what is the kiss of death? I mean, what does that mean? And he showed me the moves of what it means to be kiss of death. I'm sure I don't know if you play chess.
Yes, I do. I play chess very well.
Oh, great. So that was what he said to me. He said, you know, you're my kiss of death. And I laughed. I thought, okay, so he's very sound mentally. He has all his... I mean, I'm sure that is what people know him to be. The most intelligent of them all. The most mentally articulated man. So I don't think there's anything I'm saying here that is new. So he is very sound and clear as a crystal ball in terms of mental and physical strength.
Okay, let me ask you this last question before we take some few seconds or minutes break. Have you ever been contacted directly or indirectly by any Nigerian agent?
Contacted?
Yes.
No. Absolutely no.
Okay, thank you very much. You are listening to Tough Talk on Radio Biafra HAUSA-SERVICE, coming to you through Radio Biafra London. You are hearing the voice of our First Lady, Wada Uchechi Kanu. Today is the 3rd day of September 2022. We shall go into a few minutes break so that when we come back, we shall continue in the second part. Please don't go away.
You are listening to Talk on Radio Biafra London.
Worldwide phone call comes continue. BBC, a propaganda machine and racist media set up by the Great Britain to oppress the oppressed people of Biafra. BBC, your media war propaganda of 1967 that led to the genocide of over 3.5 million Biafrans, men, women, and children, did not stop us. Do you know why? Because we are the sons and daughters of the great lion from the tribe of Biafra. Our minds are made up. Your shenanigans, antics, and fake gutter media will not stop us either. We must and shall restore Biafra. Biafra worldwide phone call campaign alert continue. Now pay close attention. Be polite when you call BBC and use the following prompt when you call. Hello, my name is. You tell them your name. I am calling to ask about BBC policy of propaganda against the victims of genocide. Since you are obsessed with telling lies about Biafrans, here are 5 more questions to consider. Now, this is the question to ask BBC. We are witnesses to BBC racist coverage of terrorism, implying that black Africans' lives don't matter. Yet the same BBC rallies the whole world at the slightest terrorist incident in the United Kingdom. Here is the second question. But when it comes to Nigeria, BBC not only hides terrorist killings, but they slander the victims and survivors of terrorism and genocide. The third one. When will the grand patrons of lies and hypocrisy, the BBC Fake News Network, make a documentary about the daily slaughtering of Nigerians by Fulani terrorists and the government of Nigeria, whom you protect so that London may plunder Biafran's resources? The fourth question. Is the oil and gas of Biafra the reason that BBC is obsessed and terrified by the agitation for freedom by the victims of...
You are listening to Talk on Radio Biafra London. You are listening to Talk on Radio Biafra London.
Welcome back. This is Radio Biafra HAUSA-SERVICE coming to you through Radio Biafra London. We are on Talk with our First Lady, Nwada Uchechi Okukano. That is who you are hearing her voice all over the world. Today is the 3rd day of September 2022. Therefore, we must continue to the second part of the questions, please. Welcome back to the second part.
Thank you.
Yeah. As I said before about you've answered the question. Now, what do you have to say about IPOB structure? What do you have to say about IPOB structure? And some people try to thwart this established structure. What do you have to say personally? Please, go on.
Thank you. IPOB structure. IPOB. First of all, the mantra of IPOB is one family. The IPOB structure that I know has been set up as the backbone upon which this movement relies. That is a structure. And in every organization, if you do not have a structure, you will collapse. Just as a human being, what is our structure? It is the spinal cord that you have, the spinal cord, the spinal line, the spine. That is the structure. If that is tampered with, if you have a problem with that, you will collapse as a human. You will not walk. So the structure has been set up there in IPOB. IPOB has her own structure, which is her backbone upon which she relies. There is an hierarchical organogram. I mean, this has been since 2014, 2015. In terms of the organogram, that's what I'm talking about. The organogram has been since 2014 and is hierarchical rather. It is put into place to enable the effective functioning of IPOB. And that structure stems from the head of Directorate of State through to the last official within every IPOB chapter. The Directorate of State spearheads some time ago, during 2015, I'm sure those who were in IPOB then would hear a lot of, IPOB is being spearheaded by the DOS, IPOB is spearheaded by the DOS, DOS is Nnamdi Kanu, and Nnamdi Kanu is the DOS. I don't know if nobody sings that mantra anymore, but that is the structure that I know that Nnamdi Kanu has set in place. The Directorate of State spearheads the movement, and I'm sure we are all aware that Nnamdi Kanu is also a member of DOS. Hence, any operation outside of this very structure, honestly, should be disregarded. And let it be worthy of note that Radio Biafra, which is why I am here today, I mean, I could go on BBC and the rest of them, but Nnamdi Kanu understands the power of media. He knows that if you have media, you have the power. The rest of the media, censored or sponsored by the government, they will always censor your news. They will always twist what you say to be something else. And then Nnamdi Kanu will say to you, Radio Biafra is where you come and you get the unadulterated news or information. So let's not forget that Radio Biafra is the mouthpiece of the movement. There could be other movements, other places in the world. There are several movements, everybody trying to make sure that we get Biafra. But IPOB, under the leadership of Nnamdi Kanu, Radio Biafra is the mouthpiece of the movement. And as Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will always say, Radio Biafra is where we worship. It is where we worship. For those trying to thwart the established structure, the very purpose, the very spinal cord upon which IPOB lies on. They need to be aware that they are functioning outside of IPOB, being led by Nnamdi Kanu. And when you function outside of a defined structure, you are deliberately sabotaging the objective of that very movement. Let me give you a biological example. Some people may think I actually didn't go to school. During the cell formation, I'm giving a biological example as to how you function within a structure. During a cell formation, which is referred to as mitosis, some say mitosis, some say mitosis, the cells would split into two sister cells to create a bigger function. And what is that bigger function? That bigger function is known as the tissues. Now, these tissues would come together to create organs, and the organs create a functional system. Now, if you relate this to the system of IPOB, you will understand the hierarchical structure that I'm talking about. Therefore, when you function outside of a functional system, you are an exoparasite. I mean, a lot of us, we did biology in secondary school. You function as an exoparasite, and your objective is specifically to penetrate the functional system to cause harm or mishap. That becomes your job. That becomes your prerogative. That becomes your objective. That becomes your vision as an exoparasite, to cause mishap, because you're functioning outside of the mapped structure or system or functional system. However, if an exoparasite decides to establish a symbiotic relationship, I want our people, for everyone who is under the sound of my voice, to understand this very example that I'm giving. If you fail to understand it, ask your brother, ask your sister, ask your lawyer, or ask your doctor, whom you think might understand better. If an exoparasite decides to then establish a symbiotic relationship with an already established system, if you remember, I did say I will try to not be ambiguous, for us not to be bound by the complexity of ambiguity. So I'm trying to speak in a simple term and in a simple tone, so everyone will understand me. Now, if an exoparasite decides to establish a symbiotic relationship with an already established system, then there must be a form of agreement, underline the word agreement, between the system and the exoparasite. Outside of any agreement, outside of these very agreement, the exoparasite must be regarded as an intruder whose intention is to cause harm and to cause chaos. To explain this further, think about the grazing cattle, cattle. The grazing cattle and an egret. Egret is E-G-R-E-T. Whilst the cattle grazes, the egret feeds on the fleas. You know, the fleas that you find on the back, on the skin of the cattle. The egret feeds on the fleas on the cattle. So they both are benefiting from their relationship. So whilst the cattle is grazing and the fleas are, eating off the skin and disturbing the cattle, the egret is, as light as it is feeding on the fleas. And the cattle has no problem whatsoever because the egret is helping it. But imagine a dog wanting to jump on the back of a grazing cattle. What will happen?
Of course, the cattle will, there will be a fight.
Absolutely. So that is, when you try to thwart a structure, a system, that is what happens, because the egret comes based on agreement and feeds on the fleas, and they both cohabit. So I think that is my answer for those trying to thwart the structure set by Nnamdi Kanu and his DOS members. And that is where IPOB is spearheaded from. Thank you. Sorry, excuse me, I was coughing.
Let me repeat the question for the interest of the public. I think I off my telephone without knowing it. Do you at any time feel bullied or threatened by any individual, organization, or government agent? Go on.
Yes, I have been. Bullied and threatened. I have been bullied and threatened by an individual. No, not at all. But organization and governments, agents. In fact, the government. There's S there because governments and agents. Yes, absolutely yes. But that at some point in the future, I will explain better. Of course, we all know. I'm not here.
That you better do in the future because everybody listening to your voice, we like to know the governments that are sponsoring this bully or threats. Please, everybody. We don't joke with our first family. That is the reality. Please go on.
Like I said, yes. For individual, I don't know. Not that I'm aware of any individual bully. I'm not one they bully anyway. You can't bully me, unfortunately. But threatened by organization or government, of course, Nigerian government. Yes, I am threatened by their steps that they have taken. And I'm also threatened by the steps of other governments, such as United States. Like I said, I can just leave it here for now, because I will just leave that for now. But yes, I am being threatened by at least these two governments that I've mentioned. And in fact, if I could buttress on that, I have been threatened. I've been threatened by, there would be organization because it wasn't just one person. So these people would be in a dark van. We have experienced that before. Myself and my husband, we were being watched, and we made the necessary moves that we had to. Also, since his incarceration, yes, I have noticed such movements once again, and I took the same necessary step. So yes, to your question.
Okay. Now, what is your general counsel or advice to the family members of this global movement, the indigenous people of Biafra worldwide, what is your general counsel or advice to every one of us?
Thank you. Thank you for that question. I'm not here today to tell us all the related history that we already know, Chinua Achebe, all the quotes that we already know, all the books we've all read. I for one, I try to implement what I read in a book, which is why I have a problem with some certain sects. And when I say sect, I mean people who gather and create mantras. It becomes something they say without thinking about it. So when I read a book, I try to relate it to life, whatever I read. And that makes me an SM-plastic. I am SM-plastic, an eclecticist. Having said that, we know the story of every history. So, but how do we apply it to our current situations? How do we? People read Bible, people read Quran, people read a lot of things. People get history from the past and they put it together. That is what I do, and I learn from it, and then I separate points that I would like to use. We also know Winnie Mandela. We try to always use Mandela to at least make reference when we talk about our leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. And a few times as well, I've been asked questions about Winnie Mandela, and people just throw comments and a few parts of it. Some people, I don't know how aware they are regarding the real life of Winnie, the things she did on the ground, whilst no one would see her, screaming on social media and faffing about. She was doing a few things, even though she was stopped by government, which I've just answered your question here. Now, my general counsel would be that as a people, now this counsel goes to people who fall under the leadership of Nnamdi Kanu, those who believe in his cause, those who believe that he is the hope of the hopeless and that he's the light in our darkest path. And he is the voice that speaks for those who cannot speak or fight for themselves. This counsel is for those people. And from what he said to me as well, we must remain focused and avoid any distractions whatsoever. As you have observed, there has been a lot of noise over the past year, which has been aimed at distorting the vision of the struggle. Always have it at the forefront of your mind about those we have lost. Have it at the forefront of your mind those who we have lost in the struggle, who died with the hope that our people will be liberated from the claws of our oppressors. In the coming months, or in the months to come, and has been in the last year, you will continue to be exposed to a lot of noise. You will continue to be exposed to a lot of noise. As Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will always say, they will always try always try. If IPOB is not doing anything good or right, nobody would want to distort what we are doing. All the things he has predicted, everything, the way he says it, it happens. He made mention of, in the coming months, some of you will sell out, some people will sell out, and you will see the evidence. They will start running mad, just by their own hands, without you chasing them. They will start running. That is the words of my husband, not me, said it. That is his prophecy, one of his prophecies. But we should always remember that those who gave their lives gave it in the hope that our people will be liberated. So their blood must not go in vain, be spilt in vain. But learn to listen. I don't know, but I know that some of us have learned over the course of time. We've learned to listen. I've spoken to some people and they don't listen. And when you don't listen to me, I'll stop talking to you. I wouldn't bother. I don't have time to waste, to keep saying the same thing over and over again. Nnamdi Kanu said, listen to the words that will add value, and keep you on track and in line with the vision of IPOB led by him, that is led by Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. I can understand our people's nature of usurping authority, which has always ended up causing us damage as a people. I was on outreach for the objective of our people in the United States to come together. And I gave an analysis. I said something, and I will say that thing again today, because I haven't even seen that video. It seems that the reason why I want everyone to pay attention to this, pay absolute attention. It seems the reason why a lot of our people join a group or join meetings or join someone now, but unfortunately this is not someone now. This is not someone now meeting. This is freedom fighting organization. But it seems the reason why a lot of people join groups is not primarily to participate in helping the group to achieve its purpose or objective, but wanting to win and create a clique systematically with the intention of introducing their own selfish vision, eventually causing mayhem within the main group as a reason to create their own visionless group, which always, it ends up nowhere, dead on arrival. Dead on arrival. You split, you start your own, you split even within yourself and keep splitting. Opposite of mitosis. The opposite of the biological example I gave, opposite of mitosis. They end up maligning people from the main vision of the original group and making them visionless. Now these people become more confused, more disjointed, and more directionless because they hate the original group and have no clarity of purpose whatsoever. This has been the mantra, this has been the motto, this has been the steps and the structure of our people. Multiply this stupendous ignoramus by, let's say, 10,000, 50,000. That is equal to where we are today. Worse than we were ever. Worse than we ever were. I leave you to ponder on that. I leave you to go back and perhaps listen to what I've said and see if you can make any sense of it and analyze it and try to pinpoint if that has been the case. Let's remain focused. That is the word I have for you from my husband, our leader, your leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of this very movement. I am not talking to another person who runs a movement. I am not talking to another person who runs another name of Biafra fighting organization. I am talking to the people who fell under the power of Nnamdi Kanu. To remain focused and steadfast. Remember the teachings he has taught you all these years. He kept saying it. You don't listen. Everything he has said and taught for the past how many years, it seems like he never said a word. People are distorted and confused and behaving like they don't know a thing. He said, you need to be strong. Be without fear. That is his word in the face of your enemies. This is his favorite quote. Be brave and upright. Upright. That God may love thee. And that evil may not befall thee. Speak the truth. Always. Leave backbiting and underground digging to make sure that your brother falls into the pit. Leave it behind. Speak the truth always, even if it leads to your death, even if it makes you appear foolish, even if it makes you appear weak. Speak that truth. Remember to focus on our goals. We have a goal. The rest is just noise. Noise. Absolute noise. Ad feminam. You can write this down, or you can replay it. These are Latin words. If you delve into psychology, this will make more meaning. Ad feminam. Ad hominem. Ad hominem fallacy, ad hominem abusive, ad hominem circumstantial. These are all noise. They are noise. They make you lose focus. Ignore this noise. And always bear in mind that there is something called power, which is the ability to alter, to direct, or influence another's behavior or course of event. That is what we have. That is what every IPOB member who is under the leadership of Nnamdi Kanu has. Which ad feminines, all the people causing or trying to thwart the structure which he has suffered for, which he has bled for, are trying to thwart. They have none. Remember, this is IPOB, and we always win. Always, in the end, we win. Thank you.
Dear woman, thank you very much for being here. But before you go, I would like you to also make your closing remarks using our dialects, our language. You are an Igbo woman, so please talk to us closingly using Igbo language. Ure asụsụ go anyị gwa ya okwu ka amatakwa na ị na-asụ na ịwụ nwa afọ Igbo. Ndewo, go on.
Ndewo Mazi. As Hamadike would say, Okwu Igbo asụsụ eluigwe. Asụsụ eluigwe. I would have screamed IPOB, one family, IPOB, if I would get a response. But I would say that for us all. Achọrọ m ikele ndị be anyị. Achọrọ m ikele ụmụ Biafra niile. Ma ndị kwetara n'odudu Nnamdi Kanu, ma ndị na-ekwetaghị. Ana m ekele mmadụ niile nke na-anụ olu m n'abalị a. Ọtụtụ mgbe apụtabeghị m bịa kwuo okwu kama ihe gbasara unu na-eche m, ọ na-eche m uche. Anọkwana m na unu hụrụ m n'anya dịka m si hie unu n'anya. Eji m aka a na-ekele ndị niile na-agba mbọ ịhụ na onye isi anyị pụtara. Na-ekelekwa ndị nọ ebe ha nọ n'ekpere ma ngamije n'ihi na anyị bụ IPOB, anyị bụ ọnụrụbe nwanne agbara ọsọ. Ọ wee jiri mara anyị. So anyị tie mkpu si IPOB, anyị etie one family. Kedu ihe ọ pụtara? Ọ bụ ịdị n'otu. Ka m were aka a kelee mmadụ niile n'ịbịakọta ka anyị dị n'otu, n'ihi na anyị ga-adịrịrị n'otu. Ma anyị adịghị n'otu, oge ka anyị na-emefu oge. Ka anyị wepụ iwe, ka anyị nwekwa ndidi, nwekwa nkasi obi, n'ihi na ndị anyị hụrụ n'anya nwụchara anwụ. Eze eluigwe anarala mkpụrụ obi ha n'udo. Kama anyị ọ bụ ndị dị ndụ, ka anyị wepụ iwe, wepụ ọnụma, wepụ ekworo, bụrụ onye nche nwanne anyị. Ọhamadike kwuru okwu, nye iwu ka anyị lekọta onwe anyị, onye ọbụla lekọta nwanne ya. Ghara ị na-egbu nwanne gị, ghara ị na-egbu nwanne gị. Ka anyị ghara ị na-egbuchi onwe anyị, ka anyị nọrọ na nche, ka anyị nọrọ na nche chebe onwe anyị. Ka anyị nọrọ na nchebe nke onwe anyị, n'ihi na ilekọta anyị, ime ka anyị nọrọ n'otu, ime ka ọ dịrị anyị na mma, bụ ihe ya ma ji nọrọ ebe ọ nọ today. Ihe o ji nọrọ ebe ọ nọ taa na ahụhụ ọ na-ata bụ ka anyị nọrọ na nchebe. Nchebe na-ekwu okwu awụ ka anyị ghara ịnọ na mmerụ ahụ. Onye bịa ya omegide nwanne ya, merụọ nwanne ya ahụ. Ọ bụ ya bụ ihe kpatara o ji nọrọ ebe ahụ. Ka anyị niile nọrọ n'udo, nọrọ n'otu, ịdị n'otu na ịhụnanya. Ndị niile ka nọnụ na-akwado ihe ya nwa hiwere na mbụ, ndị na-esorobeghị ikuku eburubeghị ha, mgbe ị na-eji ama onye hụrụ gị n'anya mgbe ị na-anọ ya. Otu ahụ onye ahụ si dosa ihe ya, gị hapụrụ ya ahụ otu ahụ. Ọ bụ ya bụ na ị hụrụ onye ahụ n'anya, gị lekọtara ya onye ahụ, kwadoziere ya. Ọ bụrụ na onye ahụ kụrụ okooko, Cocoa flour, I believe. Gina Padoria na Achabia, Oto Chichebenine, Echabia, Warrior Mini, Busy, Yagaburo, Idopiaki, Korea Copo. No Yahana, Cambupu, Ococanos, Oporonos, Cam Conkin. Otaki says Zini Hunahanaya. Nihinka, Ndinine, Nezi. Naha, Nnamdi Kanu n'anya who began okay. Bunde nono abanyegi nsogbu niile bere n'ụzọ ha. Abanyegi ọnwụnwa niile bere n'ụzọ ha. Ma ha guzokwa. Ha ka guzogidere na ndụmọdụ ya, ha ka guzogidere na nkuzi niile ọ kuziri. Ha ka guzogidere na I'm looking for a word for Peter. Haka guzogide na mgbazi olu ọ gbaziri ha. Ọ bụ ndị a bụ ndị mma ọnọdụ Nnamdi Kanu nọ n'ụbọchị taa n'ebe ọ nọ na ihe okwu nọ n'ebe ahụ. Ebe ọwụ na aga m ekwu okwu a n'okwu bekee ka m mkpọzie mmadụ ole na ole aha ka m were ohere a kelee ndị niile nọ na Directorate of State, ndị na-akpọkwa m ka ha mara otu m mere na-agakwa ije nọ n'ime ya ime ka onye isi anyị pụta. Ndị niile nọ n'okpuru Mazi Nnamdi Kanu bụ Ọhamadike one of Biafra land. Gakwarị na ndị a na-akpọ media warriors. Amaghị m ihe m ga-akpọ okwu Igbo na gallant and unshakable. A na-akwatu ha akwatu, ha bụ oke osisi. Nnamdi Kanu ọ na-agwa ya onye ukwu, ọ na-agwa ya onye nta. The media warriors were the arms, were aka IPOB ji arụ ọgụ. Achọrọ m ikele ha ka ijisi ike Tweet Tuesday anyị na-eme. O chetara m ya, ọ chọrọ m ya ka ijisi ike kwanye ọkụ na Tweet Tuesday. Ozi ọwụla anyị nwụ ka anyị si na Tweet Tuesday mee ka ntị ndị iro anyị niile nwụrụ ọkụ. Sikwarị na Mazi Chinedu ọkwa mgbe anyị kwuru okwu otu ihe si na-aga, ọkwa onye mbụ ọ jụrụ m ajụjụ ya. Unu jisi ike ka ihe ọ hapụrụ n'aka unu hapụ imebi. Ọ bụkwa na-ebu nye unu kama amaara m na unu amụtala ezigbote ihe n'aka ya. Unu amụtala ihe niile ọ na-akụziri unu. Ọ bụkwa ya bụ ihe bụ na mmadụ ma ihe akụziri ya ihe, ya esoro ihe ahụ akụziri ya na-eme ya otu ahụ. Ọ bịa bụ amamihe. So ekelela m unu ndị nwe m, ndị Chineke chọrọ mma, ndị dị ka echi, n'ihi na echi a na-agwụ agwụ. Ahụ m niile bụrụ ọnụ ọ gaghị ezu ikele unu. Ọ eguzogide m n'ọnọdụ Nnamdi Kanu na mụwa na-asị ka Chineke gọzie unu. chebe unu dozie unu kwadokwa nzọmụkwụ unu niile ruo n'ihi na mgbe oge na-adịghị anya na mgbe na-adịghị anya anyị ga-aṅụrịkwa ọṅụ ahụ anyị ṅụrịrị mgbe gara aga anyị ga-aṅụrị ya n'oge na-adịghị anya. Ka Chineke gọzie unu niile. Ekele m na-abara unu n'ọnọdụ Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Ọ bụ ihe anyị na-akpọ on behalf of. Ekele m na-abara unu n'ọnọdụ Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, onye ndu nke IPOB worldwide. Ndewo.
Ndewo Nwada Uchechi Kanu, our First Lady. Thank you for being here with us, and I believe and hope that also in the future that you will spare your time also to talk with us or talk to us through this Salute platform.
Absolutely.
Thank you
Absolutely.
very much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
There were Biafrans and lovers of freedom. This is Radio Biafra HAUSA-SERVICE coming to you through Radio Biafra London. We have come to the end of this program known as Tough Talk, and you've had it all. Therefore, we must continue, and we must continue. Thank you for listening. From me, Mazi Jonathan, from here, it is simply good evening.
Anything you hear on Radio Biafra is the gospel truth.
I had a voice right in the air, sounding like a thunder, calling for my freedom. Yeah, now I conquer. I had a voice right.
Good evening, great Biafrans, wonderful people and beautiful people. I welcome you this evening once again. This is Radio Biafra. It is Hello Motherland. And of course, today is a Friday like none other, because each and every time we come out to do this job, each and every time we come out to proclaim that Biafra is the kingdom of God on this planet they call Earth, it lightens up our mood. We are so happy because it is a privilege. It is an opportunity, a privilege which some of us may not have. But we are so privileged, it is not funny that we are seen worthy to be among this greatest family in the whole wide world. And I'm talking about the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Okwaponono. If you make a discussion and IPOB is not mentioned, then of course you are not in tune with reality. IPOB is a word, or should I say an acronym, that has been mentioned more than 1,000 times in a week or even in a day, because everywhere you go, it is IPOB, ESN, and Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. And once you have spoken these three words, then you have spoken noble, because everybody wants to know. This is what they ask you if you belong in this noble family. And what can I say? May Elohim bless our leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the man who have called all of us out, the man who made the call. And we heard the voice on the radio, Radio Biafra, That voice is the voice of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. That voice called us and we concurred with what he was preaching and we answered the call. It's more like an altar call. Like those who goes to Pentecostal church, you will bear me witness. When the man of God has preached his gospel and he called for an altar call, people will give their life to Christ. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu preached the gospel on Radio Biafra. My goodness me. After preaching the word, he made an altar call. We concurred with the word that he preached. We listened, we believe, and we answered the altar call. And you were Biafra. My goodness me. We answered the altar call, and that is why each and every one of us is here today and are members of the indigenous people of Biafra, the greatest mass freedom fighting movement in this, or rather on this planet Earth, or this planet they call Earth. There is none other in comparison with IPOB, but none. We are mass. We are a monster. My goodness me. And this is why I take delight. Initially, when we came out, they used to laugh at us. People used to make fun of you because you're an IPOB member. When you wear your IPOB regalia, they will reduce you to a laughing stock. But this day, today, IPOB is a fashion. When you walk past a street, people will ask you, because IPOB is a brand. That the infiltrators has been doing their worst. But we are still standing. This movement was founded on the truth that is Elohim. And that is why we say that we are whiter than white and whiter than snow. If you are a pretender, if you are here for ulterior motive, my goodness me, the oath that you took will find you. And when that oath locates you, you are a goner. And this is why I'm so happy this evening to welcome you to yet another great edition of Constructive Argument with Mazi Ikechukwonoha, JP, on Radio Biafra. Radio Biafra, the best. Radio Biafra, the first. Radio Biafra, the last. Radio Biafra, Banon. They tried to hijack Radio Biafra, but they've forgotten that Radio Biafra was Aroshi. How do you hijack Aroshi and Ebu Arishi Ebu and Ebu Alebu? They tried. And they discovered that Radio Biafra Bobuni Igwe Biafra Alagi Ebu Ebu Gibru Yawan no Ebu Anye Danda Yani Buogi. It's as simple as that. Therefore, permit me to welcome you once again this evening. It is indeed going to be a powerful one. My goodness me. The man that I have today on the horse seat, the man that I'm going to allow him to introduce himself when we might have prayed. I will allow him to do so because his names and titles is so much that if I start to introduce him, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu nona adimma ka onye obula waraka ya megini oronya kamo. And this evening I will allow the good doctor to introduce himself. Waraka ya oronya kamo. He is a man that knows his history. If you are lost in terms of your history, if you are lost and you want to know, or rather you want to found yourself, today is the day. This evening is the evening. He is indeed a man of great knowledge in IPOB. Trust me when I tell you. And that is why I have been playing this old school. My goodness me. For those who has been around, for those who know what's up, check. All right, let's leave it there. My goodness me. All right, our time is fast spent and we need to get into it because I don't want to keep the good doctor waiting. And before we do that, before I invite my guest this evening, permit me to welcome you once again. If you are only joining us right now, my goodness me, it is Radio Biafra, and I tell you, for those who are new on this platform, for those who are joining us only today, and they are wondering what is happening and what is the occasion, take a listen. This is why we are here.
This is constructive argument on Radio Biafra with Mazi Onoha. Bring your argument, and we've got the solution. Constructive argument. We hit below the belt. Radio Biafra. We've got you covered.
Trust me when I tell you we've got you covered. It is Radio Biafra. We are everywhere. I said we are everywhere. We cover every nooks and corner in Biafra land. We saturate the whole of Biafra land. This is what we do, and this is how we do it. And in case if you don't have your IPOB community radio app, you've not downloaded it, where have you been? People are going past you. Make haste, go to your app store and download IPOB community radio. My goodness me, because we are the first and the last.
Get it online on your mobile. This is IPOB Community Radio. Radio Biafra, the first and the last.
That's right. Radio Biafra is the first and the last. Forget about all this rubbish, all this junk. Enter this, enter that, enter Gota. Where then they come out. They never see the better thing. Biafra, something that has been there time immemorial. Radio Biafra, Waroshi Biafra, Radio Biafra, Obuniwe. My goodness me. All right, without wasting time, once again, my name is Mazi Onoha. They call me Ononebu Ekuru Biafra. Some call me Professor of Law, Professor of Investigation and Forensic on Radio Biafra. My goodness me, they call me all this name because I preach the good news. I preach the restoration of the kingdom of Chukwu Kikabiama on this planet they call Earth. That kingdom is Biafra. We must continue because we are unstoppable. It doesn't matter what they do. At the end, we always win. They say that United Nations will never pronounce a matter pertaining to Biafra. What is happening? At the end, we always win. When Mazi Nnamdi Kanu went to the USA, to the World Igbo Congress a couple of years back, he was mocked. They laughed at him. He told them what he needed. At the end, World Igbo Congress called him and said, Anye kwela olehi choro. At the end, we always win. We told them we want Biafra, and they said Nigeria is indivisible. But trust me when I tell you, at the end, we must win. They are going to divide Nigeria, not even one part. They are going to divide Nigeria into pieces like the old USSR. Do you know why? Because at the end, we always win. And this we pray in the name of Chukwu Kikabiama. He said. This is modern. All right, it is motherland, and of course, it is constructive argument here on Radio Biafra. My name is once again Mazi. Today is the 29th day of July, 2022, the year of our Lord, the year that Chukwu Kikabiama have made. The time standing here at 13 minutes past 7 p.m. in the evening. Am I happy or am I excited or what? I am happy. I am excited. What is the occasion? Because I am talking Biafra. It is not everybody that have the opportunity, the privilege to talk to Biafra. I consider myself